am both moved and challenged by Ralph Everett's charge to lead the way for a more promising America for all people by relentlessly exploring policy options and inspiring action at all levels of society. This is a charge that we must all keep. And by your presence here today, you are affirming that this is a charge that we will keep. For the record, I want to assure you that this is a charge that I know I must also keep. I proudly recognize and am humbled by the fact that but for the sacrifices and investments of the Ralph Everetts of the world, not to mention the Bill Kennards, the Emily Cliburns, the Julia Johnson, and the Michelle Ellisons, I would not be standing before you today, poised to uphold this center's mission of improving the socioeconomic and health status of our communities. And I will continue to look to my friend Ralph and other members of his staff for their thoughts on how to tackle some of the most challenging issues we face in this ever-changing world of communications. I am sure that you all know that the FCC has been a little busy working on the National Broadband Plan due to Congress in February, which seeks to, I quote, ensure that all people of the United States have access to broadband capability. And I am sure that we all accept the premise that broadband has the potential to positively transform the lives of all Americans. But if we, as a collective, fail to meet the challenges that come with this stated goal, we run the risk of turning our digital divide into a digital canyon. Broadband is changing and will continue to change the way we receive essential services and interact with one another. Getting broadband out into all corners of the country is obviously one priority, but merely making broadband available to all sectors of this nation is simply not enough. While it can be said that most of the country is currently wired for some kind of broadband, a large percentage of Americans and a disproportionate number of African Americans have not adopted broadband into their homes. The price of broadband is clearly one factor. For some people, especially in these economic times, without assistance, no measure of desire to have broadband will get them connected. But price, my friends, is only one factor. Reputable studies make clear that millions of Americans have chosen not to adopt broadband for reasons other than price. It's a point that bears repeating. Even where affordability is not an issue, many people aren't making broadband a priority. My goal is to better understand why and to take the steps necessary to ensure that all Americans understand what's at stake. We are at a technological crossroads, and we need our broadband plan to make a difference when it comes to adopting the technology. If we are to approach the issue of adoption in the correct way, we cannot look for a one-size-fits-all solution. Rather, we must strive to understand what makes all kinds of consumers tick, and we must learn, accept, and address the reasons why those who have rejected broadband have done so. The African American community presents an excellent template for this project because we know for a fact that for many African Americans, advanced technology itself is often not a stumbling block. Wireless adoption, the use of handheld mobile devices among African Americans is off the charts. Just perhaps by exploring why mobile has been such a success among African Americans, we can identify better ways to encourage adoption of broadband. Before delving into the nitty-gritty, however, let's take a step back at what the FCC has in front of it for the next 5 months. In order to produce a thoughtful, meaningful plan by mid-February, the Commission has had to mobilize quickly to build a robust record in a remarkably short period of time. To accomplish this, in August, the Commission initiated a series of workshops designed to bring together well-known experts on communications policy, along with new voices from other backgrounds and disciplines, including those from the Joint Center. Very smart on our part. The workshops, which are still ongoing, are addressing both big, overarching issues of national broadband strategy, meaning deployment, adoption, benchmarking, and the like, as well as more discrete issues such as broadband's impact on energy interdependence and the future of the nation's transportation system. If it weren't apparent already, the workshops have made crystal clear how essential broadband is to our well-being. Not only has broadband begun to transform many aspects of our daily lives, just think about email, online banking, YouTube, websites that help consumers compare prices, but it is redefining our basic social fabric. Perhaps the best example I have is telemedicine. Those of you in the audience from South Carolina, like Ralph and me, know full well that the best health care simply does not reach some of the poorest, most rural and isolated areas of our state. With telemedicine, with that ability to exchange essential and real-time information with a physician from a distant community, Americans once relegated to a second-class health care status have a chance to receive the care they so richly deserve. A broadband link-up can, and this is no exaggeration, be the difference between life and death. Broadband can also drive job creation at a time when it is sorely needed. For example, at one of our broadband workshops, we heard from Timothy McNeil, the Director of Development for the National Conference of Black Mayors, who told the story of a small rural community in Georgia, just a connection away from landing a critical call center contract. Representatives of the National Conference met with a major airline to pitch the idea of moving some of their overseas call center operations to a rural community outside of Atlanta, which has been devastated by the economic downturn. The idea appeared to be a winner, but for one key component. The airline uses voice over IP technology to operate its call centers, and that community simply did not have access to high-speed services. With no broadband, the talks ceased, and that community, already hard hit by the loss of manufacturing jobs, lost out on a golden opportunity. This is an example where unencumbered internet access could have been an incredible economic stabilizer. Indeed, when a community has access to broadband and an unencumbered internet, it can be the great equalizer. It permits any individual or group with an idea to have equal access to the world. Just last week, my office met with a telecom carrier from out west in cattle country. Remarkably, in a very rural area, his company makes DSL available to nearly every single one of its subscribers. Within this company's rural service territory is a business that teaches English over the internet to people in South Korea and in other countries. This business, which obviously could not exist without broadband, provides part-time employment to 400 people. Another example from that same company, thanks to broadband, ranchers can sell their cattle over the internet with the help of video, saving burdensome transportation and related costs of displaying their animals in person, and adding to their bottom line. Look, my friends, I can't tell you the difference between a bull and a steer, but as a former small business owner, I can